I'm just getting over here, trying to set up my computer so I can read the chat over here a little bit easier while you guys are possibly coming in. Never know if I'm doing this right or not. All right, Semper Fi, what is up? We're just gonna go ahead and knock out a margarita. I got some tequila. I don't know much about it. It was expensive, so thought it had to be good. So let's go hit it with some of that. Good evening, Big Dave. What's up, John Gonzalez? RN, yes, we are. This is my first drink in a while. So we got the tequila. Gonna hit it with a little. I used to call this the Larry Johnson, the Grandmama, Grand Marnier. Little Debbie Nixon, what is up? Add a little bit of that. Grand Marnier. Just a touch of agave. Excuse me while I get this drink ready. Little lime juice. You know, I could have went with the fresh limes, but you know what? Let's make it as easy as possible. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Houston, Arizona, Flatbed? So had a few things on my mind in this last shit. You're jealous, man. I haven't had anything to drink since I left Springfield at the Oasis. So this is long overdue right here. So had a few things on my mind over these last couple weeks. One being, you know, the YouTube trucker situation. And this just isn't with Prime. This is with a lot of places. And, you know, I think some people might have taken what I said the wrong way. All right, Travis. But some people might have taken it the wrong way. And I don't have a problem with anybody doing YouTube. I really don't have a problem with people driving and doing YouTube personally. But when you don't know your job and you're spending more time filming your mistakes and editing than you are learning your job, then I have a problem with it. So that was what my point was. Not that I think there's anything wrong with it or anything like that. $7 a gallon. Listen, let's talk about the fuel here in a minute. We'll see how this margarita tastes. We got all the right ingredients. I am kind of winging it. That may be a little bit tad strong. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit more of this lime juice, kind of thin it out a bit. But listen, when it comes to fuel prices, and I know a lot of people don't look at things the same way as I do, maybe because they haven't been in the same type of markets or things like that. But let's talk about Ben Davis. Anybody who knows anything about Ben Davis? Come on. But anyway, if you know anything about markets, what do they say? What goes up must come down. Ferry wire on the road. There is the driver that is driving my other truck. And listen, I've been biting my tongue about doing a video talking about how good she's doing. You know, I see all these people that are in TNT training talking about how long it's taken for them to go through. Yeah, John knows what's up. That West Coast clothing and stuff. I got up on this when I was in the Marines in California. But she knocked out a student in under 5 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it can be done if you're not out, you know, taking pictures, you know, doing all that. But Myra is doing well, and hopefully the compensation that she's seeing as a result of that is making her happy as well. She has a pretty good escrow account sitting over here with me. All right, now we're talking. Now we are talking. I might have to, you know, regulate myself on this. All right, John, I was in from 87 to 91. All right, so Trucker Pete, my knee, here's the problem with it. Every time it starts getting better, like it's going to get better while I'm at home, right? And then as soon as I get back out on the road and I get stuck again, I don't know. A lot of that shit's got to be old age too. I don't know. But it is what it is. So, anyway, these fuel prices. Now, I'm going to sound kind of maybe a little bit like a asshole, and some of the stuff that I'm saying may not be really politically correct or anything like that. But when I was in my last business, we used to wait for things like this to happen to clear out the suckers. Now, I'm not even going to say that in the trucking industry is going to get to that point because we're not even 2 weeks. Listen, most of us motherfuckers ain't even got a check since the fuel prices went up, and people are already complaining. You know what I'm saying? So if it's hitting you that early, maybe the decision to be part of a business that is based on a fluctuating market is not the business for you. I wasn't driving around at 60 miles an hour, and I didn't necessarily tell my driver to drive around at 60 miles an hour. She said she was driving, she slowed it down to 60 miles an hour, and I'm thankful for that. But, she gets paid on bonuses outside of fuel bonuses and stuff like that. And as long as the loads get there, I really don't care, So anyway, we used to look for markets like this to happen. Now, the market is going to turn. At some point, it's impossible for a market not to turn. You can't force an entire industry out of business, but what can happen is enough people can get out of the business, thin it out a little bit to where rates end up just coming up on their own before any other changes need to be made. All right, let's see. Glad those drinks are treating you a lot better than the ones at Applebee's in Springfield. Man, that Applebee's in Springfield, they were taking so long to get the drinks out that you were actually more sober by the time you got the next drink than when you ordered the first one. So that was not a good time out there. That was when I was out there with him, Travis Kinley, Ross Johnson, Gate Santiago, some other people. They were all there for that driver advisory board thing for the most part. But anyway, don't stress about these fuel prices or anything, whether it's rates dropping, any of that kind of stuff. And, how am I going to sound, first of all, as the head of my household? Or even, let's say, I got Myra driving the truck for me. How am I going to sound getting all rattled, like just because the fuel economy or the fuel prices have gone up? That does not instill confidence in me as either the head of a household or somebody that has a driver driving for them. And she doesn't have anything to worry about on that. We got about $25,000 sitting in an emergency fund over there, so we're built to make it last. Travis, we had a good time, but them drinks were coming a little too slow. Man, these comments are coming fast. Would you say it's better to buy land and buy a house on it from scratch? And man, I apologize for not getting around to these housing videos, but buying a house buying land and putting a house on it can be tricky. You have to make sure that you have a good lender that knows exactly what they're doing on that. It's really nothing that I really wanted to do personally. So you have to find somebody that's really good at doing that. But that's a decent route to go. Big H Truck, and how are you feeling? I'm just now getting well. Man, I pulled into Denver. The weather was kind of getting a little iffy. I go to this Safeway, it's King Supers out here. Takes me about 4 hours to get unloaded, and I'm cool with that. Get 2 hours detention to offset these escalating fuel prices. So I get the detention. As soon as I shut the door on my trailers, I feel this like itchy thing in my throat. And then I feel like I'm getting a rash on my hand or something. So I'm thinking it's allergies, you know. Sometimes that'll happen when it gets damp in Colorado around this time of year. So I get to the Denver yard, and as soon as I get there, it just hits. Dang, it hits me. And I've been kind of down and out. This is like the first day that I've actually felt good enough to kind of get up and get around. A lot of times it's not more expensive. A lot of times you're able to buy a new build home for less money than one that's already pre-existing. But if you buy a new home, a lot of times you're not knowing what you're dealing with as far as, is the foundation going to settle? You know, like if you buy a house that's 20 years old, 10 years old, most of the settling that's going to happen has already happened. So anyway, but some people had some questions about my other truck. Myra's on here, so she's watching this as well. But I told her to run the truck how you want to run it. If you see a load you don't like, don't take it. It's as simple as that. If you need a break, tell the fleet manager you need a break. Whatever it is, just it's your truck. You run it how you want to run it. Now, there's some loads that she gets that are obviously loads that aren't too good from a company driver standpoint as far as the cents per mile go. So on those, I say, you take it if you want, and if I'll pay you an extra $60 or whatever on that load to make up for it. But she gets bonuses in other kind of ways and stuff like that. But I'm not going to get into that part of it. She could talk about that on her channel if she wants, but that's on her. So let me see if I can get these damn comments up over here, because these are disappearing. Send money on a stroll. Send money next song. Send money. Yep, and she's going to be in Springfield for 5 days to take a rest. I've actually been pushing for her to take a rest because she's been working so hard. But she is doing a masterful job, if I must say so myself. All right, so what other topics did I want to maybe possibly talk about? Also, when it comes to these fuel prices, there is another YouTube channel out there by the name of Tim Travels. He's done a couple videos. One is about this trucker convoy, which I thought was hilarious that he did a video kind of on that. I have the same feelings on the trucker convoy as he had on his channel, and he went over fuel and fuel rates and stuff like that, and I kind of have similar feelings that he has on that. So go check out his channel. Look at those two videos. Tim Travels, they're hilarious videos, especially the trucker convoy one. I don't know what is up. All right. I'll take your other truck, please. Thanks. Man, I don't have another truck other than the one that I'm driving. They're not letting anybody get another truck or add any additional trucks. I was thinking about possibly buying a truck from the outside and bringing one in. J. Lou, the trucker, am I still considering getting a property in the Villages? I pass through there quite often to go to my mom's house, nice area. I think, man, my wife has been sending me properties in Springfield. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if I would go to Springfield directly or if I would be more kind of Ozark-ish or something like that. But that probably would be the direction I'm leaning as of right now, which leads me to another topic. Let's say the economy gets really bad. I promise myself that the next time this happens, I will be in position to take advantage and if the market drops, I'm in position to take advantage of any down market that comes up. So, and again, I know the Prime just came out with this fuel video, but we're kind of getting hit with the double whammy right now. And I think maybe that's shocking people, but we really haven't got a paycheck yet. So I don't really understand. I think some people are actually losing their goddamn mind, is really what's happening on Facebook and all this shit. And we haven't even got a paycheck since the fuel prices like skyrocketed, first of all. And second of all, this week might be a little hard because our fuel surcharge actually went down and fuel went up, since it kind of trails, one another. So this might be a bad week, but once it catches up, nobody at Prime from a business standpoint. Now, if you're worried about your wife driving and how much fuel she's spending and all that kind of stuff, that's one thing. But your truck's fuel costs should not be a reason for you to be talking about, trying to revolt and, bring back other presidents and all this other kind of stuff. So that's just not. And again, you should be grinding hard enough to where it doesn't matter who the president is. You should be getting yours regardless. I'm not sitting here waiting around for somebody else to come in. I'm going to get mine now. All right, I have a question. Is charging $1,000 a day for your... I have a question. Is charging $1,000 a day for your rig, is that the norm, or is that just because of the situation out there? Or is that... I don't know who's charging $1,000 a day. I don't know. I don't know anybody that's paying $1,000 a day or who's charging $1,000 a day. Housing market is hot, but just like any market, it's not always going to be hot, and you don't want it to always be super hot anyway. You want there to be fluctuations in the market. So if we have one of these fluctuations that comes up, I'm jumping in. Yeah, I heard the prices are dropping at Prime, or dropping overall 70 cents. Yeah, that's why I was never going to be worried about it anyway. And even if they went up another 70, I wasn't going to worry about it. TNT Barbecue, what's up? I'm proud of you, man. I'm not going to get into it, but proud of you. Hopefully, we'll still be able to talk once you, hope your head doesn't get too big. J. Lou, checking out your fuel filter is probably a good first place to start. Also, run some Power Service Plus. I forget the name of the fuel treatment that I buy. It comes in a gallon jug. It treats 250 gallons of fuel. Run some of that through. See if that helps you out a bit. Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know. If you're buying Peterbilt 389 or Kenworth W9, that is at a point, I think, in your career when money isn't your main focus. Like, I see a lot of people that just get into trucking and they're getting those trucks. And I think that that's a bad move until you have all your shit correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to withstand anything by the time you get that truck. That's almost like a novelty to some degree. And, trust me, I've thought about, some point maybe wanting to get that. Not at Prime, obviously. I mean, it would have to be down the road, and that's unlikely, but it's always been something I wanted to do. But at that point, money making would not be the main thing. I prefer the 389 over the W9. I just think it has a much better profile to it, personally. So we spoke about that. We got another barbecue guy in here. Actually, a few barbecue guys, shoot. Popularity's barbecue, Daddy Dutch barbecue, TNT barbecue. I don't think I'm even going to get around to another barbecue video. I just can't find the motivation. This is a good margarita right here. Whatever the name of this tequila is, and I'm not much of a tequila guy. I can't pronounce this stuff, but small batch tequila, reposado, that stuff right there. I'm going to focus in. That stuff is good. And you can never go wrong with, when you add a little bit of that. Yeah, so you see some people out here complaining about fuel prices. They got the Peterbilt 389 or the Kenworth W9, whatever, and then they're idling all night long in 48-degree weather. I just don't get it. Yeah, you're about right on that, John. But Terramana. All right, I guess that's how you pronounce it. But some people were asking about the prime lease purchase option, stuff like that. And I don't know what Prime's going to do with that. I kind of feel a little exposed with two trucks, because if one truck goes down, one truck can't cover two, but two trucks can cover three if one's down. So I don't necessarily think I might have that problem, especially since I got the pick of the litter as far as the drivers go. So I was possibly thinking about getting one from the outside and bringing it in. Now, from a mega carrier standpoint, and when I say this, when people are looking for markets like this to happen, if I was a mega carrier, I want this to happen. Drive a few people out of business, buy up a few more trucks and terminals and whatever, and you're good to go. So a bad market is not bad for everybody. It's just you need to put yourself in the position to where you're not one of the people that's on the wrong end of that. Yeah, John, the 389. I mean, that's all about that's about having a big dick swinging contest, especially when you start stretching it out and you got your trailer like 35 feet behind the back of the truck and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but it's still something that I've kind of wanted to have. Just some other stuff I was kind of talking about, because I've been hearing some people whining about this damn fuel, and the people that are whining about it aren't really even people that it's affecting. Some people may just want to whine. I don't know, but at least let it hit you. I mean, at least let it be 4 months down the road before you start really getting upset about it. I mean, you know, maybe just take this as a learning lesson. I could remember back, you remember when the government shut down back in like 2006 or 2007? I forget what it was, but the government is shut down, and the government had not even been shut down a month, and you had people that were making $60,000 a year plus that were already like in financial, trouble, and they hadn't even, you only get paid twice a month in the government. They hadn't even like really had like, they really only missed one payment at that point, and people are already like stressing out and tripping about it. And there was a time when me and my wife first met, and I came out of a situation where I put all my chips in and I crapped out. You know, the market ate me up at the time. I jumped in too early. You know what I'm saying? And me and my wife had both met, and I was fucked up and she was fucked up. And I was like, you know what? This shit's never going to happen again. First of all, I'm never going to be worried about money again. I'm going to put myself in that position, and then got that shit handled. And then the next time a really good money making thing came around and I didn't have the money to do what I needed to do, I said, the next time this shit comes around again, I'm gonna be able to take advantage of it. So I've been like sacrificing everything that I could to put myself in this position. Travis, you just get 6 miles to the gallon average on that just because it's an older truck, bro. And you're trying to drive 70 everywhere now. So I'm sitting at home for about, I don't know when I'm coming back out. My fleet manager like literally took what I said to heart. When I said, "Don't call me, I'll call you." My wife just went to Mexico. So she's gonna be there 10 days. So what's today? The 10th. So let's say the 20th. She'll be back like, let's say 2020. So I'll probably want to hang out with her about 4 or 5 more days before she leaves. So let's say the 25th. I'll leave anywhere between the 25th and the 1st. Something like that. Man, this is some good stuff right here. Good investment I made. Let me hit it with a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna be calling you here in a little bit, Travis. Maybe not today. Maybe in a couple days, give you a call, touch base with you again, see what's up. But 50 something, what's paid for? Did I miss something? 50 something. He's out there on some big ass ranch out in Texas or something like that. What's up, Sam? I'm like, damn, can't get enough of this, lemon in there or lime. I decided to take a little bit of a break, man. I was seeing some shit. I just wanted to separate myself from people out there worried more about their brand than actually doing their job. As I mentioned earlier, I don't have a problem with anybody doing whatever they want to do on YouTube. You could be driving, filming, talking, doing the whole thing. I don't really care about that. But if you are doing a video where you are taking 45 minutes to back into a dock and you actually have the time to film that and do all that stuff, why not spend those 45 minutes actually practicing somewhere so you're not wasting somebody's time while you take 45 minutes to back into a dock? I mean, I understand it's content and all that kind of stuff, but to me, when it becomes more of a production than a job, so I was just like, you know what? Let me just step back a little bit. And I do think that what happened with this girl at Prime was unfortunate. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. For those of you guys to know. All right, anyway. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if it's taking somebody 45 minutes to back into a dock, there's spend the time it took to edit that 45-minute video, you could spend 45 minutes practicing to back into a dock. I mean, and just like the guy is a good dude, so I don't have anything against him as far as that stuff goes. But when it's just like every fucking thing in the world can't go wrong, and if it is, maybe the filming and all that shit is the problem. Now this is a perfect margarita right here. Now, and then on the other, no, I'm not drunk yet. I just got my first like half a drink down, maybe a little bit over half of a drink. But when it comes to some of this stuff, if a company or somebody comes to you and says take a video down, that should be like not even a question. Just take it down. That in itself lets me understand that the content is more than the job. So I don't know. I was just getting frustrated. Anyway, Big H Trucking, that's my boy right there. Have a good night. Headed to dinner and driving down to Georgia. Hey, I might sit this out and let you guys take this winner. I know it's all content. But this winter right here, I'm done fucking with it. So if this weather is this bad when I come back out, I might have to just come back out just to stay active. I might come out a week or two and come back and shut it down. Let my girl Myra go out there and hit them hills and all this stuff in the snow. I hear you, Michael. I don't know what happened to the girl Prime. I didn't keep up with that. Yeah, some people had asked questions about the Peterbilt, my what the fuel mileage is on it. Uh, it kind of fluctuates. I mean, it's been up near 9 if I'm doing average stuff, but it was like under 8 when I was messing around with all them mountains in the West Coast. So I think that model overall does better because it doesn't even have 20,000. Well, I think it might have just went over 20,000 miles. Uh, and they don't really get broke in till 100,000 miles. But there's this part of the truck that's called the or epic flow or something flow. And part of it is a plastic piece that comes kind of that hook attaches right near the rear tires and extends out a little bit beyond the mud flap. Well, I went in a pothole and it kind of hit the bottom of that and bent it. So I ended up taking one of those off. This just happened within the last week. So I took one of those off, and then I'm probably going to just take the other one off here in a couple days when I get the truck home. Yeah, Michael, there's no way. If now I let my other truck run however that truck wants to run. If she wants a load, she could take the load. I don't even see the money or anything like that until after it's accepted or whatever. So if she wants a load, take a load. If she doesn't want a load, don't take the load. But if I see a load that's going somewhere where I think that the weather might be a little questionable, I might send her a message and say, feel free to decline loads going out west, something like that. But she can run it how she wants to run it. I'm not trying to run it. I mean, I already went against my rule accepting a load out to Washington uh, that I didn't actually get there the whole way because I told him I probably wasn't going to be able to get it there because my hours were going to be short anyway. And I ended up dropping it in Salt Lake City. But that next day was when I would have been there 2 days later was when that big old pileup happened, and I could have been out there, So forget that. So I took that load, and then there was another load that I took that I shouldn't have taken going up to Connecticut. And I took that load just because he had been running my other truck so well. So I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and eat this one. But that load almost set me up to get home late, and I couldn't have got home late this time. And the weather coming into Denver, I mean, the weather was this winter just needs to end. I've run the Grapevine on I-5 in summer and in snowy conditions. To me, as stupid as it sounds, the Grapevine is one of the more dangerous stretches of highway because you have so many cars going there's so many lanes and so many cars going, not so many lanes, it's not like a bunch of lanes, but there's like cars and trucks going at such varying speeds that it's just dangerous because of that. Uh, no, as far as ordering the truck, I didn't really get a spec sheet. It just kind of told you what it was. I don't know if it's worth it. I forget how much that total package costs. I think part of that package might be worth it, but I don't necessarily think that you needed to have the whole thing. But I don't think you could pick and choose. Like I don't think you could say, okay, well, I'll take this part and then leave this part off. Uh, so for the price, I mean, you might have to drive a long way to have that pay for itself. But I will say that I think that these new Peterbilts, the fuel economy, once they hit 100,000 miles, is probably going to be uh, pretty close to a Freightliner. But I don't, fuel's not the reason I'd buy it. You know what I'm saying? Or got it. Johnny, on the flip side, Donner scares me in the winter. The problem with Donner to me is sometimes when your tires get caught in them ruts, it almost feels like it's trying to take you off the highway. If you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then I don't know. I don't know anything about intermodal personally. Hey, Evan, I went to Salt Lake City on March 5th, 2019. So I was there right about now. It's going to start getting warm. Yeah, man, Michael, I'm probably going to be home at minimum till like the 25th, maybe till the 1st. I got to get some taxes and stuff kind of situated as well. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to as well, getting that other truck paid off because, once I do that, I'm gonna, you know, hook up my driver with a little bit even more pay. You know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the grapevine, like, mainly again for the reasons I said before. It's not technically a hard hill, but when you got a bunch of trucks on there, some trucks are going 45, some are going 55, you got cars going 75. Now, I did get what's up, Million Mile Man? I did get the disc brakes on this truck. I haven't been able to see a difference. To me, that's been a waste of money so far. I don't know. But let me start looking at this one. That has kind of been a waste of money so far, but I guess we'll see. Know of any lease guys looking for company drivers in their trucks? Yes, just, I don't know. Million Mile Man, you still looking for somebody to run one of your trucks? Or did you find somebody? If you see Million Mile Man down there, last I talked to him, he might have been looking for somebody to run one of his trucks. Sam, what happened with the house video series was I took a couple weeks off just because I just needed to step away from some of this stuff that was going on, and I'll get to that. And actually, a good way to get set up with somebody. Really, I'm just talking about fuel prices and shit like that, Willie. I'm also talking about, are you looking for another driver for one of your trucks? Somebody just asked that question. And I mainly got, okay, I found two people. I mainly got the disc brakes for future value more so than just what, because I barely use the brakes. I'm an engine brake riding full. Even in the wintertime. I know people are like, don't use the Jakes in the winter. But I'd be running them Jakes in the winter too. It's not like I'm slamming them on or anything like that, but I might get to the top of the hill, you know, slow down, throw my Jakes on, and then kind of brake a little bit and then kind of engage them at the same time so I don't have a reefer kind of catching up with my truck, anything like that. But any tips on dealing with this fuel dilemma? Don't worry about it, man. Do not worry about it. You see that movie Pulp Fiction? He said, "Tell that bitch chill." Just chill out, man. It's not gonna be that big of a deal. At least let a month go by. Have a bad month, have a bad 2 months before people start panicking about, what's going on with the fuel. Because people haven't even got one paycheck. I predict at least 3 companies will go bankrupt by August. And see, that is the upside for people that are in the right position. So if you're in the right position and you happen to be wanting to grow your company, these businesses or these companies that are about to go out of business, they're right for the picking. Yeah, I did hear fuel is dropping by 70 something cents. I really wasn't concerned because I'm sitting here and I know my driver is out at the Millennium relaxing right now, so she's not doing any loads. Hey, Willie, did you guys used to rock this in Atlanta? I doubt it, but that's a West Coast thing. And see, the $7, most of that shit's in taxes anyway, so you're only gonna get taxed on what you drive in there anyway. And if you drive a lot in California, then I guess you got to worry about it. No, Colorado is not west. Well, Colorado would be considered west. It wouldn't be considered West Coast, but I got up on this when I was in the Marines in San Diego, and they had the influence because these clothes were worn by, it could be gang members, in LA, or, you know, whether that be Mexican or black. It was, a lot of bikers as far as bike clubs were wearing this brand of clothing, and a lot of skateboarders at the time were wearing this in Southern California, which is where I kind of came up on this. What's up, bearded fat man? Colorado would definitely be west. I mean, what would you call it? Midwest? When they say Western 11, Colorado is part of that 11. You know what I mean? Usually, all right, trucking therapy. What I try to do, or what I tell my fleet manager is, what I really want to do is get him a picture, a map of the United States, and then me get like some crayons and have like green, yellow, and red. And I put the yellow, like, well, I guess it'd have to depend on the time of the year. I mean, some red is just red. Like, I'm not trying to go to Rhode Island, Maine, none of that. I don't want to do none of that. And then in the winter, I'm not trying to go west of Cheyenne. And, the rest, we could have at it. But to me, it just doesn't make sense to do some of this stuff. And I know somebody has to run the freight and you have to be a team player and all that kind of stuff. But me taking a load to, Puyallup, Washington makes no fucking sense whatsoever. All right. What is John saying? West of the Mississippi, MCRD, San Diego, East. Yeah. Hey, Willie, you gonna be at the terminal here? Myra just went to the terminal. She had Junior's up there trying to get her on. Junior must see some talent. You know what I'm saying? What am I drinking on? Well, as a matter of fact, we might as well talk about it now. I'm going to refresh my glass right now. All right, so what I got? We got a little bit of this. You know, somebody told me how to pronounce this earlier. But whatever that is, tequila, boom. Now I'm just, freshening it up. Hit it with a little bit of that Larry Johnson, Grand Marnier. Be a little bit of that agave just to sweeten up a little bit. And then some of this lime. A little margarita. So much better than that mix. Man, it's already got a bunch of tequila in there. So that's why I went light. Now if it tastes a little too weak, I'll add some. Well, that's good. I could go to the A-Fleet too. Just have not found the desire to do any of that kind of stuff yet myself, but I had somebody talk to me about that. Let's see what we got. That is tasty. Listen, Nadi, I waited a long time for this drink. I mean, the last time I came out of the house was December 22nd. My last drink. I'm trying to remember if I went up to the Oasis when I was in Springfield with my other truck. When my other truck came in. Yeah, I did. So I had one, must have been around January 4th or 5th, something like that. So that would have been the last time. So time to make up. All right, Irvin, I'll check you out. Them new tires are working out great, at least on my truck. I haven't really asked Myra how the tires are going on the truck or on the older truck that I put them new tires on, but I'm assuming that they're doing well. She's out there in all that damn snow. And one thing I will advise some people, if you do plant, well, I don't even want to bring it up now because Prime's not doing it. All it's going to do is create. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. But yeah. But for those of you guys just came in, man, I got in on Sunday or Saturday night. I pulled into Kroger in Denver, Colorado. Weather was just starting to get bad, but the Denver drop yard is about 15 miles away, so I really wasn't sweating it. Hung out there, started getting detention, which was nice because it's always good to get detention to offset, fuel cost, stuff like that when you're on your way home. So boom, I'm cool with that. They tell me my load is ready. Almost as soon as I walk my paperwork up to the front of the place, I start feeling like I have like allergies coming over me. So I'm thinking it's just allergies. So I get the little eye drops and I take some Benadryl because I know that, I get to I get to the Denver yard, take Benadryl, get home. As soon as I like get home, man, it's like full on like, I don't know if it was COVID or a mild case of COVID or the flu or something like that, or a bad cold, but that shit was wearing my ass out for a good, like, let's say all Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So today's like the first day that I felt like even like getting, like I hadn't even gone outside the house. Uh, all right, JDQ, what's up? JDQ, you need to stop worrying about fuel prices, yo. You need to take advantage of these high fuel prices while you can. Is Prime bringing back the lease to own anytime soon, man? I don't think so. And I've thought about that. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, if you have two trucks and one goes down, one truck can't cover two trucks. But if you have three trucks and one truck goes down, two trucks can cover one truck. So I've kind of wanted to get up to that third truck, and them not having that option might lead me to buy one from the outside and bring it on. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to bring up lease purchase because I was gonna. I don't know when Prime is lifting the hiring freeze. What's up, Simple Plan Trucking? So is your truck coming in, JDQ? So we can finally welcome you to the club? Hey, Jerry, I took a couple weeks off just because I just wanted to kind of step back from everything that was going on with YouTube truckers. So now my wife is in Mexico with her parents and whatnot. And she's not Mexican. Her parents just go down there. They stay there for 5 or 6 months a year, something like that. Not that there would be anything wrong with her being Mexican. I just didn't want, It was definitely freezing this morning when I took my wife to the airport at 3:30 in the morning. It was -1 degree out here. So yeah, and this is kind of rare for March in Colorado. Usually you're going to get the last snowfall in April, but it's not enough to really affect driving. That stuff I was driving around in this morning was affecting driving for regular cars, and I saw some trucks out there trying to get after it. And I saw one that probably should have ran the light because there was nobody around, and it was kind of going up a hill. And then once that light turned, I don't know if you ever made it up the hill or not, but I would have probably ran that one. Or wouldn't have been out in it in the first place. But he should have known that he wasn't going to be able to make it up that hill once he stopped. Dang. Yeah, Longmont, you probably got double the snow we got down here. I live in Centennial, kind of out there off of like 470 and Smoky Hill Road. The flow below. Okay, that's what that thing was called. The flow below. I think it's okay for the first part of it, but the flow below on the back wheels. Just about 2.5 weeks ago, I was driving, hit a pothole. That tire went in the pothole and it hit that flow below plastic thing and kind of bent it. So I didn't notice it at first, but it was like rubbing on my wheel, not enough to like create a groove or anything. So I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to take this shit off anyway. So I'm going to take that off. Well, I took one off. And then now that I'm home, once it warms up and I bring my truck home to clean it out and everything, I'm going to just take off that other back part and I'll just leave the middle part between the two wheels. And that's enough. I just, that thing is too low. And as a matter of fact, the even the front part of the Epic package, so your front grill is a little bit lower or under your bumper. There's times when you're feeling like that's like, you don't want to hit a like you have to be careful with potholes. I feel like I'm driving around a 1989, lowered Nissan Sentra or something with that truck sometimes. So I don't I don't know if I get that again. I'm just not sure. Trucker, little Debbie trucker. You know what? Uh, Debbie is one of the people that I was like trying to get to drive one of my trucks for the longest time. I think she would have been a great addition to that. And anyway, so me and Debbie kind of go back a little bit. Can you tell why the high fuel price is a good thing? I hear Prime say, okay, I'm going to try to be very generic when it comes to this explanation on why. Well, Debbie, I can't order another truck now, but if I get a pink truck, would you come on over? Uh, in short, Prime gets with I don't know if it's with all their contracts, some of their contracts, most of the contracts, whatever, but the fuel surcharge is based on an average of, let's say, 7.5 miles per gallon. So in essence, as long as you're doing better than 7.5 miles per gallon, anything that you're doing above that is basically gravy. So you would be therefore making money on the fuel surcharge. I really can't explain it much better than that. I'm sure there's somebody that can, but in essence, nobody at Prime should be. Now, there are times when you need to worry about it. Like this last week that passed, what happened was fuel prices went up drastically, but the fuel surcharge, since it's a trailing average, went down. So for that week period, you're paying more for fuel and you're getting paid less for fuel surcharge. So that is kind of a rare thing that happens, but it happened. But over the course of time, that's going to level out. Even if that wasn't the case, things always level out. People will jump to people just like get too like people worry too much about shit that way before they need to worry about it. Yeah, Debbie Nixon, I will get a pink truck for you. If you tell me to pull the trigger, I'll go looking for one like tomorrow. Yeah, John, things are pretty tough as far as getting scheduled with Prime right now. I'm not exactly sure kind of what the deal is with that. Prime just posing. Yeah, my midlife trucker said that Prime just posted a good video on that. And if you do look at the Prime video, they do go into that a little bit more in depth. So if you just type in Prime Inc. and then go to like the last video in regards to fuel, that will go over that. Yeah, Highway of Truth said the same thing. So Debbie, do I need to run out there and get a? Because I could probably get my hands on a pink one, at least rapid pink. You down? I could start up my own little highway diamonds. You know what I mean? I guess she was just joking around about that. Let me see how this shit's going over here. So let me see if there's anything else that I was wanting to speak on right quick. Somebody asked about taxes, who I use as far as taxes go. I use Abacus as far as taxes go. And I've heard some people say, well, they don't do everything that they can do. They're conservative. Listen, they give you everything. They put in whatever you give them. They're as conservative as you make them be. So I didn't find that. I gave them all the shit, told them how I wanted it to be ran on my rental property, on my outside income, trucking income, all that. And they did it, spit out the numbers, and it was a done deal. So I feel if you're with Prime, and even if you don't want to use Abacus as your, your tax preparer, CPA, whatever, even just for the accounting is super. I mean, that's super beneficial right there. Highway of Truth. Let me tell you a story. I don't know if one of my students is watching this, but the first time I had one of my students in, man, he was hilarious. I'm just going to tell you. And he kind of had a super dry personality. And he was like saying he had Asperger's syndrome. Well, I didn't know that at first. And it wasn't like so pronounced where if I say, get out of here, he'd like get out of the truck. But he was kind of a dry personality, kind of a very literal type person. But the first time we were driving through California, I felt like if any of you guys have seen that movie Clueless, when she got on that highway for the first time and Alicia Silverstone's in the back seat screaming and everything, and her boyfriend's tripping out. That's the way it felt being out in California. The first ride in California with some students. People talk about Atlanta. Atlanta to me is not bad traffic. I mean, there's 15, 20 cities that's worse than Atlanta, but taking a student out in, you know, I-5, and I-10 and I-15 and all that, I can understand why you'd need a sip. I hear you, man. Jared, I understand exactly what you're talking about as far as your lady needs you home and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, it's a similar situation with myself. It's just that I clearly lay out the goals that I need to handle. And I think I'm a little bit closer to getting my goals done to where I need to be, to where it's not like it seems like it's forever away. So, you know, trust and believe my wife is not like happy that I'm gone as often as I am. And to be honest with you, I've been gone a lot longer than I want to be gone just based on, you know, truck orders and when they're coming in and all this kind of stuff. That, usually I try to be out 5 weeks and I take a week off. Uh, I'm probably going to start shortening that up a little bit. I might do, you know, I don't know, but I probably will start taking more time off. And, the one good thing about, or not the one of the good things about the driver of my other truck is she's a road dog. She stays out. Like she's taking off 5 days coming up here pretty soon. And she's been out like 5.5 months, stuff like that. And, one of the bonuses that I give is for staying out. You know what I mean? Because I think it's a good way to at least compensate somebody for doing that. But I definitely need to start getting home more. Now, going local is not the thing I could do to do that. Well, first of all, because I'm already, dang, I'm already 2 trucks in at Prime. And local work for a 50-something-year-old, fucking with all this bad weather in the winter, and then out there trying to like do a lot of physical labor, it's not a good match. John, you are not lying. It is like being deployed. Maybe not the 6 months. But yeah, it is. And see, here's what being not drinking for so long has done. This has put me right to sleep. This is like, I can't hang like I used to. Intermodal, if you live in the right place, man, that seems like a great deal. Usually, somebody's talking about I need some gin to dry up that cold. Usually that's my drink. But what I found was since I've been out so long and not used to drinking, that gin and what I normally drank uh, was too much for me. I needed to tone it down a little bit because normally my drink is a Bombay Sapphire or Beefeater gin, martini, dirty. You know what I mean? But I be out on the road so long, I come back and that's like going from 0 to 100 right quick. So a margarita is little, more subtle. Okay, is it the Denver yard or the? I don't know. The Denver yard is just kind of a dirt yard with a double wide sitting on it with a couple showers. I don't know if Swift had that before or not, but it's a pretty basic yard. Well, shit, if I don't gotta pay you anything, I'll get you I'll go get a camouflage truck right now and put whatever you want on the side of it. I'm joking, but all right, Debbie. I'm gonna have to catch up with you here in a little bit. Oh, intermodal trailers. My God. You know what? Nadia, I picked up an intermodal trailer. I refuse to do it ever again. I don't think it's even possible anymore, but I picked up one that was coming out of Bradenton, Florida, a Tropicana load, and it was going all the way up to Kentucky. That trailer beat me up so bad that I felt like I drank a gallon of like Everclear. My kidneys were hurting so bad by the time I got up there with all that bouncing around and all that. Man, that was a horrible ride the entire way. Plus, my fuel economy at the time was like, I don't even think it got above 7. It was a horrible ride. And I don't even think I could slide my tandems. I just happened to get lucky that when I scaled out, it scaled out correctly because I wasn't able to slide the tandem. I mean, it was a horrible trailer. And every other time, there was one other time that I went to go pick up a General Mills and they had it loaded on an intermodal trailer and I turned the load down. I won't do that again. I think they've changed the trailers since then, but that was a bad load. See, whiskey's my other drink. See, I normally wouldn't even be drinking this right here. I'm just trying to change it up a little bit. Because the whiskey, I think last live video I did, my son had bought me some Terry Bradshaw whiskey that I was drinking on the live. This intermodal or the trailer I had was not on a chassis though. This was an actual trailer. So it wasn't one of those that sits on that like kind of clamps onto the side. This was like an actual intermodal trailer. Damn, I feel like I'm getting sick again. Might be time for me to take my ass to bed. But before I leave, any of you guys out there, seriously, and this could be anybody, especially people at Prime. I don't know about other companies. If you're at Prime and you're tripping out about this, I don't know about Seattle, but if you're tripping about this fuel surcharge and stuff like that, trust me, it's nothing to worry about. Let the market correct itself. It always does. The market will always correct itself. It may take some time, but it will always correct itself. Just make sure you're on the right end of that correction. And the best way to do that is to keep all the shit you want at bay. Don't necessarily go out and buy every fucking Dodge Charger Hellcat, that you want. Maybe you could buy that shit later, cash, whatever. Don't go out and put yourself in debt. Have yourself in a position to absorb whatever you need to absorb. Don't trip out about this. The people that can make it through this are going to do way better than the people that, trust me, it's going to come around. That's what I'm talking about, Saltine. Scotch. Scotch actually was my first drink. A good scotch. Yeah. So there was a time I used to turn my nose up to like whiskey and bourbon and all that. But anyway, this market is going to change. So if you're, whether you're an owner operator, you're the company driver, you're a lease operator, whatever it is, the market's going to turn. Don't trip out about this. The market will always correct itself, and the people that panic and think about this. A couple of years ago, when we went through the same situation, people were, and it was a good position, a good time for a lot of people. How many people were buying used trucks really cheap, stuff like that? It may not happen this time because of the way the used truck market is, but how many people went out of business a couple of years ago because they could not make it through a down market? So just take this as a warning shot. If you're not where you need to be now, remember this is something that's a possibility, and start saving your money, lowering your debt, getting rid of debt, whether that be on the business or personal side. And when markets like this happen, now I'm not saying that I want anybody to go out of business or anything like that. All I'm saying is if the down market hits, there's going to be some opportunities to be had. And I want to be in position to take those opportunities. So I'm about to get off here. If my road dog, my driver, is still on here watching, nobody appreciates you more than I do. For the rest of y'all, I will get back to this here in a little bit. Not that I have all that much to say anyway, but I do want to start getting into this home buying situation now that I'm at least around some people that might be able to help me with those videos. I might be able to stop back in to my old office and talk to people on camera about different situations, buying houses as truck drivers, things like that. So I might be able to do that. And I'm starting to feel a little worn down right now. Like this cold might be trying to reactivate itself. So I will check you guys out later. As always, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.